I've played a lot of different mods in Frontiers, but a lot of the revamp mods made so many drastic changes to the core gameplay that it almost doesn't feel like the same game. I love the core vanilla experience within Frontiers, and I've always been looking for a mod that will make some big changes but will still feel like the same game. Which brings us to Chaos Polarity, a mod that I've wanted to cover on the channel for a while now. Hi, I'm Snack, and if you don't know me, I love to cover any and all Sonic games and mods on my channel, and I mean any. Hell, my last video was the Sonic mod within Risk of Rain 2, which you should absolutely check out when you have the time. I'm also the bird on the jackal's head, not the jackal, just to clear up confusion from the last video, which was really funny to read the comments of. For any new viewers to the channel, which is probably most of you, I love to do challenge videos like this, vanilla or modded, and will absolutely be doing more of these once Sonic and Shadow Generations drops. But if you have any ideas for challenges, be sure to leave them in the comments below. I read all the comments, so you won't be missed. You should also subscribe to make sure you never miss a new upload. You won't regret it. For returning viewers, you're probably thinking, Snack, didn't you say you would never play Extreme Difficulty again? And to that, you would be right. I did say that. However, I say a lot of things, so that's on you for believing me. To give a quick rundown on what Chaos Polarity does, basically it overhauls the combat system to lengthen the battles a bit more than vanilla and raise the skill ceiling, while also keeping the core vanilla experience mostly intact. A lot of vanilla strategies still work, maybe a nerfed or reworked version, but they're there still, along with many changes such as brand new abilities you can unlock by leveling up Sonic's stats, such as Chaos Drive, Spin Slice, Sneak Attack, Perfect Parry, and even more. But you're probably thinking, how do you unlock these on extreme difficulty? Well, let me provide you with something that you will almost never see on this channel. Real-time snack commentary. So basically you go to Chaos Polarity, open the containing folder, go to Properties, go to Extreme, go to Unlock, and then set all these values to 0, because then all the moves will be unlocked automatically. I left Pursuit Kit at its power level 35 needed because I don't like that move, but that's totally up to you. You can use what you want. We're also going to run this challenge as Shadow since, you know, Year of Shadow and all that jazz, and somehow it feels better to play as Shadow than Sonic with this mod. Anyway, with all that out of the way, let us commence forth. One big thing to note is that Chaos Polarity does not affect physics at all, but it has a very small impact on cyberspace. Because of the rebalancing of damage and enemy health, you might not always kill enemies in one hit, just worth noting. But other than that, cyberspace will have little impact on the challenge, other than progression. You know, that might not actually be true. We get a pretty fun bug to kick off the session. Whoa! Whoa! Why am I invisible? What's going on? So after a quick reset, we continued, right into another bug. What the fuck is going on here? Basically, soldiers are going to have a bit less HP, but this isn't inherently a bad thing since it's a nice way to test out new moves that you get. Since this is extreme difficulty, we will have all the special unlocks available once we unlock the relevant skill. There are some that can be useful, such as Sneak Attack, used by double pressing the same dodge button, and you will immediately dodge round and behind the enemy you're targeting. But straight up attacking is usually more effective. You can also use finishers right away. Holding any direction on the left stick or keyboard while basic attacking will have you use the corresponding finisher right away. It's a good way to quickly finish off low health enemies or get a good chunk of damage in before using a different move. Parrying remains mostly the same, but with the perfect parry buff you will be granted a long slowdown time and a bigger bundle of rings if you choose to time your parries instead of just holding it the whole time. Finally, the mechanic I wanted all along! I decided it would be much more exciting to bring back defeating all Guardians in this playthrough. Since the new moveset is very diverse, it will be a fun way to test what Shadow can do. However, we don't have very much unlocked against ninjas, so this is a poor showcase of power just now. But just you wait. Against enemies that can be knocked away, which is basically just the soldiers, the direction they are sent in is based on the direction you hold the stick. It's a fun way to play around and mess about with different combo extensions. Yato dared me to do bridge skip, which went just about as well as you can imagine, knowing me. Fuck you, Yato. Next up is Tower. Again, Tower is so simple that you don't really need to use many skills, but if you have DLC enabled, Phantom Rush will help with speeding it up. And then 1-2. I forgot to mention earlier that I'm using Scrubdy's original cyberspace themes mod, and it really does give cyberspace stages that breath of fresh air they so desperately needed after being unchanged for so long. Also on the subject of mods, the Shadow mod is by Masterclaw and Chaos Polarity was made by the JO1. All relevant links will be in the description, as well as this one. So with the island now open, after collecting the usual skill shards, it was time to test a few things. I had recorded this playthrough on hard difficulty previously, but then I changed my mind and did it again. And the Shadow mod would crash the game when using Sonic Boom. So I wanted to see how effective the Chaos Drives were, so I gave them a shot next. The negative Chaos Drive will increase your attack power while draining your rings slowly over time, and the positive Chaos Drive does the opposite, lowering your attack power while increasing your rings, or slowing the drain in boss fights. I tested my luck against the squid. Using negative Chaos Drive is incredibly powerful against enemies that you need to parry a lot, because you get rings back as you land parries. So basically it's effective against every enemy. And then I made my way to Asura, Because of how basic combos work in Chaos Polarity, you will need to parry to hold your position once you finish one, otherwise you will just fall. And in Extreme, you die. Yeah, fun. Fun difficulty mode. The next thing I discovered is that some change in the code doesn't give the stomp bounce as much recoil as it does in vanilla, so hyper bounce can't take you high enough. Not that this was a big deal, I have like a 1% success rate with hyper bounce anyway, so I looked for another way up. But Snack, why don't you just play the game normally? No. Stupid idea. I forgot about Grand Slam, so I headed over to Amy to grab it. It's a staple move in this mod, you simply can't go without it. However, after I used HSP to get to Giganto, I quickly realised that I might have started the fight with too small a moveset to beat them. Like, at all. Let's run down the boss changes first. You get 100 rings, and that's it. Ring efficiency is key in this fight. The correct use of Chaos Drives is what will lead you to winning. Use positive Chaos Drive in moments where the fighting is stagnant to save your rings, and use negative drive whenever you're full on attacking. However, Chaos Polarity introduces move scaling. Basically, repeating the same attack will lower its power. So my typical parry, Grand Slam, parry, Grand Slam, parry, Grand Slam is not going to work. And as I said a few seconds ago, my moveset is not big enough for this yet. So in order to be doing some proper extra damage, I needed a move that was fast, so I backtracked and grinded for Wild Rush. I will always stand this move since it lets you immediately target when you're in odd positions relative to your target, and it's really fast in most combat mods, and fuck did that make all the difference. You want to pass Giganto's first phase without losing more than about 45 rings. You will find this much easier to achieve if you use positive Chaos Drive when you're not fighting, but avoid using any drive at all when you're attacking, since the ring drain is quite powerful. What I found to be useful was activating negative drive right before using Grand Slam, since the ring drain during it is pretty much negligible. Go for perfect parries if you're brave enough, and this will reward you with more rings than normal parry. In the second phase, be careful of Giganto's backshots, smash like, but otherwise, the strategy's the same, and congratulations, you've just iced your first boss. I started Ares by going to the usual treasure spots and beating 2-2 for all keys. This is all that you need to be able to finish the island. I got Cyclone Kick from Knuckles, and then I made an attempt at fighting Strider. Strider usually isn't much of a problem because in vanilla it's really easy to avoid phase 2, and because it's extreme, I wasn't really up for taking the risk. Definitely use negative Chaos Drive, it will speed up the process dramatically. But let me let you in on a little secret. I didn't beat Strider. I know, but the boss sucks anyway, and it's my video. I make the rules. Trying to get some skill points, you can see that Cyclone Kick is reworked to simply be a launcher move that deals very minimal damage. But if you dodge into whatever move you wish to use, you can catch them as they go up. Somehow dying against a soldier not long after, I decided to just fish for the skill points. For the sake of the video not taking forever to make, fishing was the easiest way to get the skill points. You don't really get enough skill points from fighting even Guardians to level up. So I wasn't going to completely slump through this playthrough. Oh, shut up. Now that we've got some extra skill points, I spent them on Quick Psyloop and Loop Kick, which I later came to regret since I'm not the biggest fan of Loop Kick and it makes using Slingshot a bit harder. But it helps to prevent move stealing, so I'm sticking with it anyway. I went back to Strider to see if using Quick Psyloop would help against it, but it was a no-go. Regardless of what moves you have, the second phase still sucks. Like, who coded these projectiles? Anyway, next up was the Shark. It's not hard at all, it just takes a while. Use Quick Psyloop to prolong how long it's grounded for, and you should easily beat it fast. I suppose if you find the Shark's theme to be a banger, this won't be much of a problem. It is a banger. For some reason, you can only attack it from the side. If you go head on, you just, like, won't hit it. What? It's probably a good time to talk about combat ranks. I'm sure you've noticed the prompt appear by now. Basically, your rank will go up for landing perfect parries and using a diverse set of moves. When it goes up, you'll be rewarded with rings for that fight. But that's only useful in bosses. Sure, Chaos Drive is the only thing that can affect your ring count in Extreme, but even if you choose to use it, you'll be able to win pretty much any encounter without coming close to running out of rings. If high combo ranks are your thing, go ahead, it can be fun. But on Extreme, I don't think it's really worth it. Sumo is fun, nothing really to talk about there, pretty similar to vanilla, but Tank on the other hand, I am so tired of this fucking tack shooter looking owl wasting so much of my time. I pretty much proved I could kill one, and then during the tornado phase, I died to literally nothing. Okay, enough complaining. Let's get this island done. There's nothing different about Wyvern Escape since the physics don't change, but after we leap over the hills and hit the spawn trigger, things start to get a bit more interesting. And yes, I'm using Spin Dash, but I don't think you guys will really mind. Aim for perfect parries against Wyvern, since the phases can be iffy and you'll want as many rings as possible. And when I say phases can be iffy, this is what I mean. You'll know you got a perfect parry when you hear a bunch of lightning buzzing after the hit. It's not quite the exact sound from boss fights in Another Story, but it is blatantly obvious in comparison to a regular parry. Regular parrying is still a fine option, but there's little reason to stick with them. It's a much better risk-reward ratio in Chaos Polarity. Don't forget to also switch appropriately between the Chaos Drives to save rings when you don't need them and spend them when you do. so use positive drive when flying and negative when in close quarters. I was landing perfect parries quite a lot, pretty sure this fight scars me, so I've just become numb to the timing of it. Spoiler alert, Snack in post here, he's bullshitting and isn't numb to the timing at all. You can hold one dodge button in this fight to be invincible to literally anything, and then just press the other dodge to parry. Literally the moment you get hit, look, you can see it here, he's a fraud. Quick Silent Wyvern as much as the game will allow it, because it is a lot easier to damage them in this state. And then that's it, boss number 2 is down. While writing this script at 5 AM, the reasoning behind my madness for this playthrough is becoming very clear. Whenever I reach Chaos Island, I always try and get 140 of Tails tokens before doing anything story related. Yet every time I end up bored and it fails. But then I thought, hey, at the end of the day, this is just another vanilla extreme playthrough, at least for story and exploration. Combat is another story. Spider, fuck you. Anyway, when you finally pass the skydiving phase, Spider doesn't really attack. Some moves that really rely on lock-on will never work against Spider because the little shit cuts around too quickly, just like they do IRL. But just like Shadow, I also like to use a combination of Wild Rush and Loop Kick to make sure I'm always locked onto Spiders, and in no time at all, it's gone. Bastards. With 100 tokens left to collect and no map to find them, as I mentioned earlier, this is just another vanilla extreme playthrough, which I've done plenty of already. Go watch them after this, you'll enjoy them. So with all the fishing tokens I gathered in Ares, good one, I just bought all the tokens. I could easily be a bitch and hide this from the video, but that would be disingenuous, and as you know, there's no filter with me. I've always been upfront and real with you guys on anything that I can be upfront about. I battled Shinobi next, which was actually really fun. Rather than parrying, you can dodge into Quicksilent, and if you're fast enough, you can interrupt the move and do an air combo. Remember, if you use Stomp or a downward basic finisher, your enemy will be sent right back to the ground, so just keep this in mind if you like longer combos. Now we need Cross Slash, but really we just want to continue the story, because Cross Slash has been heavily reworked. Onto that later. We've got some cyberspace to do. I do enjoy cyberspace, so it's not something I'm going to skip, even if I did colossally fail a bunch of times. You're a dog. My plan now was just to beat a Guardian, go to a cyberspace stage, get an emerald, rinse and repeat. But of course, that gets interrupted early by Shield Escape, which for some reason, I struggled with. And you know what I like to do when I struggle with something? Skip it. But for once in my life, I didn't forget about the most forgettable Guardian on Chaos, the big wee wee. All the towers behave like this, give anyone access to a slope, and this boss is a joke. That was a bar. Pew pew blah 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 blah. I normally hate 3-4, but my god, it looks really amazing with this mod, and I've become pretty good at the stage for the most part over time, so no complaints there. The tunnel to the red emerald is weird because you won't one-tap the spinners with this mod. It doesn't really break the flow, but it's best to know because it does feel a little weird and can throw you off if you're not careful. And then it's onto boxes. Because damage numbers are reworked, the botches? What the fuck? The boxes take much longer to destroy. Chaos Polarity, from what I've been told, is a code change and doesn't alter many mechanics outside of Sonic alone, so in some cases it will clash with the story minigames. Given that this probably wasn't intentional, there's no need to feel bad if you turn off the mod just to pass the minigames. I was determined to not do that though, but one of the purple crates at the end just didn't drop the parts. It almost cost me, but at least I managed to beat it. Shadow, what are you doing with that emerald? I needed another gear, so my bright idea was to take on Fortress. It took like 5 or 6 phases to beat it. The only effective way to deal any damage is to have Phantom Rush charged. Typically, I would use Cyclone Kick for this, but the move has no final hit from its rework, so you'll need to quickly transition to another move, and then just use Wild Rush. Or, you know, just use Negative Chaos Drive, which I keep forgetting is a thing. I continued to look for cyberspace stages that only required 1 gear, and thankfully my most hated stage, 3-6, is not one of those. 3-3 is probably my favorite on Chaos Island, next to 3-1. And even though I failed repeatedly, still mad fun. We're almost there. 2 story missions, and now 1 emerald left. Heading towards the bridge mission. What? On the bridge mission, this would maybe be possible if you're playing on anything lower than extreme, but because of the reworked damage, you can't get past the spinners, and anytime you attack one, you'll probably die. I just disabled the mod to get past this, but let me know if you managed this on extreme with the mod. I'm interested to see. I asked Big nicely for some extra gears just to get to my remaining keys, and I went to 3-2. Not my favorite, the music sounds like some 2016 YouTube intro music, and I'm not super sold on the level design, but at least we have enough keys now. And I finally managed this really weird and pointless skip when I could have just slingshot up or done it normally. If you asked me either of these questions, my answer is I've played so much that I like trying different methods for pretty much anything in this game. Otherwise, I would lose my mind. Like I do in pinball all the time, I really need to learn how to skip that. Against Knight, you'll really see how much better the combat feels, because now the fight actually feels equal. The strategy is similar to vanilla, get the Knight's shield down and counterattack accordingly. I recommend you try to charge Phantom Rush before you Silent Knight in the air, since the windows for damage isn't as effective in Chaos Polarity given the damage rebalance. A move we like to call the funny never seems to leave me alone, which is just getting iced by the shield the instant the second phase begins. So with that, we have to reset. As it turns out, you don't need to be as careful with your rings this time, since in phase 2, parrying the shield will add 3 rings, and perfect parrying will add more. Basically, you can just do it constantly. Then Psyloop Knight up, don't spam the same move, and then it's over. The bosses are far more enjoyable in this mod, and it's only a few simple changes to the game that does it. Damage output, damage fall off, and ring count.
No, I'm joking.
Chaos Polarity doesn't make any major changes to content within the final horizon, so we're just going to do the main game ending this time around. Once I visited Big to grab the tokens we need to do the quests, it was time to get right into the boss rush. Let's begin. Something about Kunoichi has always bothered me. It would be a lot more fun in my opinion if you weren't restricted to where you could fight the ninjas. If they get knocked too far away from their original spawn point, they just teleport back there. This is silly. Either way, fun fight. Landing those perfect parries is a lot of fun, and using Chaos Drive to boost damage is very satisfying. The Guardian speed and movesets are not changed in Chaos Polarity since the aim is to make regular combat that little bit more satisfying. Caterpillar has this weird bug where if you run the code that removes Guardian introductions, it doesn't do the grind rail phase right at the start, which is really handy because that part sucks, and it's a lot more fun to just beat the crap out of the boss anyway. Since the target is always weirdly positioned, Wild Rush helps to put you back right over to it. I unlocked the remaining skills literally during this fight, and I just love that there is actual reason to use more than just Stomp and Cross Slash using this mod. Ghost isn't any different because the combat model is irrelevant and Ghost doesn't really do anything combat-like, but it's still fun as per usual. And then the towers are all the same, just reaching for the head and basic combos is enough. But it is fun to mess around with the different moves. Master Ninja was just the same as Kunoichi, with the added laser attack and a slightly less tedious clone attack. I found that a fun combo to use to damage them while in the air is Cyclone Kick after Psyloop, then Wild Rush, Loop Kick, and then into Stomp. If you do get hit by the ninja, just hit your jump button immediately, and Recovery Smash will take over. However, I did forget about Chaos Drive, and I think my endurance kinda just ran out, and I lost. But then another attempt using Chaos Drives, and it was a straightforward fight. When the purple aura appears, just Psyloop them, as they are getting ready to parry you, and they can't parry a Psyloop. Once the Master Ninja was down, I realised how much of a genocide spree I went on. It was time to chill out and use the gears we've got so far. First up was 4-4, one of my top 3 stages. It's so chill, fun platforming, just wish it was a little less linear. Doesn't take away from it being a good level or a fun stage though. 7 keys. Then we went to 4-3. This stage looks genuinely awesome with the original Cyberspace mod and is very, very quick to complete. Another 7 keys. I'm not huge on 4-8, probably because I suck at it, but the music is also like a bottom 5 for me too. But the original theme goes so hard, looks like a fucking stereotypical American diner. It's so cool. I had to do this stage twice. Like, how do you expect me to get enough rings, all red rings, and finish the stage in 23 seconds? But oh well. Another 7 keys. 4-7 is without a doubt my favourite stage in the game. I didn't even mind that I had to repeat it. The stage design is fun and I love the music. I even pulled this off completely by accident and didn't even notice until I saw the clip later on. The 1 minute 2 S rank can be kinda tough to get, but given how much fun the stage is, who cares? Another 7 keys. I went to 4-6 next, and as cool as the original theme looks, I hate this stage with a passion. Why does it restrict your speed so much? Why is the faster route the easier path to reach? It's literally the bottom path. Doesn't make sense to me. Took a bunch of tries for all 7 keys, but at least we have access to the White Emerald, so we can just finish the island now. But first, getting rid of Silver Hammer. Again, just literally the same as every other tower, no matter how threatening it may look. And now that the last Guardian is gone, we can grab the Blue Emerald, the Red, shoot some bastards, the Green, the Yellow, the Cyan, shoot more bastards, and then the White Emerald. Final boss? Here we go. You can do some good damage by going head on at Supreme, but because you can't really lock them down with Cross Slash anymore, it's a lot less effective. Playing the fight normally will give you plenty of chances to land perfect parries and never run out of rings, given that without Cross Slash, the fight does take a while. On my first shot, I did manage to make it to the second phase, but my ring count did go below 50, which was a little worrying. But because of the staggered bullets, more parries, which means more rings, if you actually land them. I think you automatically enter this fight with an empty quick Psyloop gauge as well, but honestly you can deal enough damage without Psyloop at all. It's more fun that way, but it's weird too. I've got the first phase down easily now, but I still couldn't get the timing for parrying on phase 2. If you can land at least 2, you will definitely have enough rings to beat them. But Supreme's defenses take much more damage this time, so the erratic movement in the second phase can be hard to deal with. But if you can reach the HP wall, that's it. and you will stand a good chance at winning. Just be careful, because if you basic combo any of the defenses, you will suddenly lock onto Supreme's head. This isn't a Chaos Polarity thing, that's vanilla, and I bet you didn't even notice that. After the QTE phase, we enter a somewhat hidden third phase, which I assume was intended for the base game, but it wasn't implemented properly. You don't have much of a window to damage Supreme, and if they jump back up, you're pushed away and have to run the phase again. There's little chances for ring gain once Supreme reaches the HP wall, so this could be tough if you didn't manage to save enough or didn't use Chaos Drives correctly. But thankfully, I was able to make it through it and defeat Supreme. Supreme is way too cheesable in the vanilla game, and the small changes made in Chaos Polarity really make all the difference in this fight. If you play Frontiers on PC, absolutely give this mod a shot. It is really fun.
Wouldn't it be funny if you just didn't include Sonic in the video and, you know, forgot about Ray Island?
And that brings us to the end of the video. This one took a while to make given that I re-recorded the entire run, so any and all support is much appreciated. Leave a like if you enjoyed and drop a comment down below if you want. I love reading them. And I'm not going to be that guy that shows the subs versus non-subs comparison, but most of you guys watching my videos are not subscribed. It supports the channel greatly if you do, takes 2 seconds to do, and you'll never miss a new video. It would be greatly appreciated if you subscribe. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed this little Shadow themed video and are as excited as me for Shadow Generations to drop. Not long now. I'll be making content on the game when it comes out, and if you have any ideas for videos when it does drop, please tell me, I'd love to know. To give credit where it's due, big thanks to hweilla and Makon for the thumbnail, and to all the mod creators whose mods I used in the video, who I mentioned earlier on. Hoping I can get one last Frontiers video after this one out before Shadow Gens drops, but no promises. I'll do my best. Anyway, that's all from me. My name is Snack, and I'll see you in the next one.
I look like I work in Pizza Hut. Well, listen, here's what I'm gonna do. Cause I look like I work in Pizza Hut, I'm gonna go ahead and grab one of the empty boxes that are on my motherfucking stove. Cause I always keep an empty, an empty pizza box just for the fuck of it. Just when I feel like throwing it away. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna ring your mom's doorbell. When I know you're asleep, I'm gonna ring your mom's doorbell. I'm gonna have the pizza box be like, excuse me ma'am, did you order pizza? She's gonna look at me up and down, see the abs chiseling and busting through the underarm, see the BBC slightly protruding to the left, and just pull me in. The pizza box flies. She said, wait a minute, there's no pizza. I said, well, you just pulled me down. Throws me on the couch, gets to her knees, starts sucking, twerking, twisting. I'm like, oh. That's all I can really do, and I submit, and I just bust infinite hot loads of matrix juice right down her motherfucking throat until she goes and goes.